The moment it happened, the world seemed to pause under the harsh white daylight of the glass tower. A billionaire single mother, powerful enough to move markets with a phone call, dropped to her knees on a spotless marble floor and begged a janitor to marry her. Her hands trembled, not from fear of losing money or status, but from the terror of losing something far more fragile. In that instant, surrounded by sunlight pouring through tall windows and the distant hum of a waking city, everything she believed about strength, love, and survival began to collapse. Before the story pulls you deeper, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Grandma's Book if you believe in kindness and second chances, because stories like this remind us why compassion still matters in a busy world. Elara Whitmore had built her empire during daylight hours, in boardrooms flooded with sun and confidence. As a single mother, she balanced billion-dollar decisions with packing lunches and tying shoelaces, her life a careful performance of perfection. Yet behind the tailored suits and calm smiles was a woman exhausted by loneliness. Her late husband's absence echoed in every bright hallway of her corporate headquarters, and her child's laughter, though precious, could not fill the empty space left by adult companionship. Elara had learned to survive alone, but she had never learned how to ask for help. Marcus Hale worked the same building but lived in a different world. Every morning, as the city stretched awake, he cleaned offices that would never know his name. His uniform was simple, his shoes worn, his posture quiet but steady. He was a widowed father himself, carrying grief like a shadow that followed him even in the brightest daylight. Cleaning floors was not just a job, it was a way to keep moving, to keep breathing, to keep providing for his young daughter without asking anyone for pity. Their lives brushed past each other in silence for months. Elara noticed him because he never looked at her like everyone else did. There was no awe, no fear, no hidden calculation. Just respect, the kind that didn't need words. Marcus noticed her because she always thanked him, even when no one else did, and because her eyes sometimes looked as tired as his felt. The crisis came suddenly, in full daylight, when Elara's carefully guarded world began to unravel. A legal battle over guardianship threatened to tear her child away, fueled by powerful enemies who questioned her ability to balance motherhood and leadership. Lawyers circled, headlines whispered, and the pressure crushed her from every side. She needed stability, not just on paper, but in the eyes of a system that measured worth in cold definitions of family. That was when desperation led her to Marcus. Not to his job title, not to his position in society, but to his humanity. In the quiet of a sunlit corridor, with cleaning carts parked nearby and footsteps echoing in the distance, Elara broke. She begged him to marry her, not out of convenience, but out of a belief that his presence could anchor her child's future. The request shocked him, not because of her status, but because of the pain he saw in her eyes. Marcus did not answer quickly. He had lost once, and the daylight that illuminated her desperation also illuminated his own scars. He understood the weight of promises made in fear. What he asked in return was not money, not power, not a place in her world of wealth. He asked for honesty, for time, and for a commitment to treat their children as equals, never as tools or symbols. He asked that daylight truth replace hidden contracts, and that their union, if it happened, be built on genuine care rather than survival. Those conditions stunned Elara more than rejection would have. No one had ever asked her to slow down, to feel, to be real. Agreeing meant risking her carefully constructed image, opening her life to vulnerability. But as she watched Marcus kneel to pick up a dropped toy left behind by an employee's child, sunlight catching the gentleness in his movements, she realized that strength did not always look like control. The days that followed were filled with cautious steps taken in daylight. Shared lunches in parks instead of boardrooms. Children meeting under open skies, learning to trust without understanding the stakes. Elara faced her fears without armor, and Marcus allowed himself to hope again. The legal battle did not disappear overnight, but something shifted. Judges saw not a calculated arrangement, but a family forming with intention and care. In the end, the marriage that saved Elara's child also saved two broken adults who had forgotten how to dream. There was no grand spectacle, only sunlight, quiet smiles, and a sense that healing often begins in the most unexpected places. Marcus did not become a billionaire, and Alara did not stop being powerful, but together they redefined success as safety, love, and shared mornings under a bright sky. If this story touched your heart even a little, please take a moment now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Grandma's Book, because your support helps keep stories of hope alive.